Chapter 33. The primal deity helps the original heart-taking pig into the cave, the monster said. "Here's one, brother." "Let me have a look at him," said the older demon with delight. "Isn't this the one?" asked the younger demon. "No," the other replied. "You've caught the wrong one. He's useless, your majesty," said Pig, taking his chance. "I'm just a useless monk, so let me go. I'm scarcely human." "No, don't let him go, brother," said the younger monster. "He may be no use himself, but he's with the Tang priest. Pig's his name. We can soak him in a drinking water pool at the back till his bristles come out, salt him and dry him to eat with our wine some rain day." "Damn it," said Pig. "I would have to run into a devil who's a salt pork peddler." The junior demons carried Pig inside and threw him into the pool. Sanzang, meanwhile, was sitting on the slope feeling uneasy. His ears were hot and his eyes twitched. "Walk on," he said. "Pig's been a long time patrolling the mountain. Why isn't he back?" "Don't you understand his mentality yet, master?" said Monkey. "What mentality?" Sanzang asked. "If there were monsters in the mountains, he'd be completely helpless," said Monkey. "He'd make a tremendous fuss and come rushing back to tell me, 'I don't think that there can be any monsters.' I expect he found the path easy and went straight ahead." "If he has gone ahead," said Sanzang, "where shall we meet him?" "This is a vast wilderness. It won't be like finding him in a city." "Or a marketplace." "Mount your horse and stop worrying," said Monkey. "That lazy idiot won't be walking fast, so you only have to make your horse get a move on. We're bound to catch him up and continue our journey together." The Tang priest mounted his horse as asked, and Monkey led the way into the mountains as Friar Sand carried the baggage. "Brother," said Goldhorn, the senior demon king, to Silverhorn, the junior demon king, "as you've captured Pig, we can be sure that the Tang priest is here. Make another search and don't get the wrong one this time." "Right away," said Silverhorn, who immediately mustered 50 junior demons and set out on patrol. As they went along, they saw an auspicious cloud drifting and circling around. "The Tang priest is here," said the junior demon king. "Where?" the other demons asked. "An auspicious cloud always shines above a good man's head, and an evil effluence rises over a bad man," said Silverhorn. "The Tang priest is an incarnation of the venerable golden cicada. He's a holy man who has cultivated his conduct for 10 lives. That's why he has that auspicious cloud." When the others still could not see it, the junior demon king pointed again and said, "There it is." Sanzang shuddered thrice, in Sen, the saddle once each time the demon pointed. "Why did I shudder, disciples?" he asked uneasily. "Probably it's indigestion," said Friar Sand. "Nonsense," said Monkey. "It must be because these steep mountains make the master feel nervous. Don't be frightened. You'll feel better when I've cleared the path with my cudgel." Monkey then ran through all the routines in the military manuals as he swung his cudgel up and down and all around in front of his master's horse. The Tang priest watched as he displayed divine powers unmatched on Earth. At the sight of Monkey hacking his way forward, the demon almost died of terror. His soles went flying as he watched from the mountaintop. "Well," he found himself saying, "now I know that all I've been hearing about Sun the Novice for years is absolutely true." "Your Majesty," said the junior demons, coming up to him, "you're boosting your enemy and making yourself small." "Why? Who is it who's so terrific?" "With Monkey's magic, powers will never be able to eat the Tang priest," said Silverhorn. "If you're not up to it," said the junior demons, "we'll send some of us to ask the senior king to send all the troops in our cave into battle. If we all work together, they can't possibly get away." "You've never seen that iron cudgel," said the junior king. "He's more than a match for a whole army, so with only 400 or 500 of us, we wouldn't have a hope against that cudgel of his." "In that case," said the other demons, "we'll never be able to eat the Tang priest. There was no point in capturing Pig. Let's free him. We were right to capture him and shouldn't let him go," said the junior king. "We may not be able to eat the Tang priest yet, but sooner or later we will." "How many years will that take?" the others asked. "It won't be a matter of years," replied the junior king. "In my opinion, we must catch him by cunning, not by being vicious. Try to grab him by force and we won't get so much as a smell of him. But if we make friends with him by kindness, we'll be able to get him by kindness, we'll be able to get him by trickery. Please find a place for us in your plan, your majesty, said the little demons. Go back to the camp, the junior demon king told them, but don't let on to his senior majesty. If he gets alarmed and gives the game away, our plan will be ruined. I can catch the Tang priest through magical transformations. As the other demons went away, he leapt down the mountainside to the path, shook himself, and changed into an aged Taoist. This is what he looked like: a gleaming star hat, unkempt white hair, an embroidered belt round a cloak of feathers, cloud sandals tied with yellow choir, clear of spirit and bright-eyed as an immortal, strong and light like one who will live forever. He could be compared to the Taoist riding a buffalo, but is more like the master of the White Scroll. This false image could be a real one. His deception appears to be the truth. There he was, beside the path, pretending to be a Taoist who had broken his leg. His feet were covered in blood. "Help, help," he shouted. Just as Sanzang was happily walking along, supported by the great sage Monkey and Friar Sand, he heard a shout of "Help me, father!" "Well, I never," said Sanzang. "Who could that be shouting in these wild and uninhabited mountains? It must be someone who's been frightened by tigers, leopards, or wolves." Reining in his horse, he called, "Who's that in trouble? Come out." The demon crawled out from the undergrowth and kowtowed noisily for all he was worth before the Tang priest, who was most upset to see that he was a Taoist and of such advanced years at that. He dismounted rapidly and helped the old man to his feet, begging him to rise. "It's agony," said the demon. Agony. When the Tang priest released his hold and looked down, he saw that blood was pouring from the old man's foot. "Where have you come from, sir?" asked a shocked Sanzang. "And how did you injure your foot?" "West of this mountain, father," lied the demon. "There is a pure and quiet Taoist temple. I am a priest there. What were you doing wandering around here instead of looking after the incense and reciting the scriptures and the law in your temple?" Sanzang asked. "The other day, a benefactor of ours from south of the mountain invited all us priests to perform a service for his natal star and spread blessings for him. I was about halfway there with my disciple. We were late when a ferocious and strongly patterned tiger carried my disciple off. As I staggered along, shaking with terror and not knowing where to go, I lost my balance on a scree and injured my foot. I can't find my way back. Thank heavens I have met you today, father. I beg you in your great mercy to save me. If we find our way back to the temple, I'd even sell myself into slavery to repay your kindness." "Sir," replied Sanzang, completely taken in, "you and I share a common destiny. I am a Buddhist priest and you are a Taoist. Although we wear different robes, we cultivate our conduct according to the same principles. Were I to fail to save you, I would not be a true monk. But help you though I would, you can't walk." "I can't even stand, let alone walk," replied the demon. Never mind," said Sanzang. "I can walk, so you can ride my horse for a while and give it back when we reach your temple." "You are very generous, and I am most grateful," said the demon. "But I have hurt my thigh and couldn't ride." "Indeed," said Sanzang, who then instructed Friar Sand to put the luggage on the horse, carry the Taoist over his shoulders. Friar Sand assented. The monster turned round at once and looked closely at Friar Sand. "Father," he said, "I got such a scare from that tiger, but this terrible-looking monk frightens me even more. I'd be too afraid to let him carry me." "Who can you carry him?" said Sanzang. Certainly," replied Monkey. The demon recognized him and docilely allowed himself to be carried by him, saying no more. "That old Taoist doesn't know what he's doing," chuckled Friar Sand. "Fancy refusing to. Let me carry you," and wanting Monkey to instead. "If it wasn't for our master, he'd smash you against a sharp boulder and break all your sinews." As Monkey carried the demon on his shoulders, he muttered to himself with some amusement, "Wretched demon, how dare you try to provoke me? Do you think I'm a mere child? Your devilish nonsense may be good enough to hoodwink the Tang priest, but it won't fool me. I can see that you are a local mountain demon. I reckon you want to eat my master. He's no ordinary person, he's not for you to eat. Besides, if you want to eat him, you'll have to give a good half to me." Hearing Monkey's mutterings, the monster replied, "Father, I'm a Taoist monk from a decent family who was unlucky enough to meet that tiger today. I'm no evil spirit." "If you were afraid of the tiger, why didn't you recite the Great Bear scripture?" Monkey asked. Sanzang, hearing Monkey's grumbling just as he was mounting the horse, chastised him. "Silent ape, better to save a human life than to build a 7-storied pagoda. If you're carrying him, just get on with it. Stop talking about Great Bear scriptures or Little Bear scriptures. You're in luck, damn you," said Monkey. "Merciful and pious my master may be, but he's a bit rough under his kindly manner. He'll be angry if I don't carry you with me. I'll do it if I must, but there's something I want to tell you first. Warn me if you want a piss or a shit. If you do it down my back, the stench will be more than I can stand. Besides, there's nobody to wash my clothes if they get dirty." To which the demon replied, "Of course, I'm old enough to understand that." At last, Monkey hauled the demon up on his back and hastened westwards with the Tang priest and Friar Sand. When the going became very uneven in the mountains, Monkey walked slowly and carefully, letting the Tang priest get ahead. Before they had gone a couple of miles, the master and Friar Sand dropped out of Monkey's sight into a hollow on the mountainside. "The master doesn't have any sense of how things should be done despite his great age," he grumbled to himself. "On this long journey I'd feel overloaded even if I were empty-handed. I wish I'd smashed this evil monster. I would have to carry him. Even he's not a monster but a good man. He ought to die at his age. Why should I carry him? I'll fling him down and kill him." The demon realized that the great sage was deciding to kill him, so he used his power to shift mountains and made mountain-moving sea overturning magic on Monkey's back. He recited the words of the spell, bringing Mount Summerer flying through the air, crashing down on Monkey's head. The great sage twisted his head to one side in a flash, and the mountain landed on his left shoulder. "Tell me, son," said Monkey, "what magic have you used to make yourself so heavy?" "You're crushing me. I don't mind the weight, but a badly balanced carrying pole is much harder to manage than a well-balanced one." "A mountain's not enough to crush him," thought the demon, and he recited another spell to bring Mount Ma hurtling down through the air on Monkey's head. Monkey turned aside again, so that the mountain landed on his right shoulder. Just watch him as, with the 2 mountains on his shoulders, he hurries like a shooting star after his master. The monster broke into a cold sweat all over when he saw that Monkey could carry mountains. Then he pulled himself together, recited another spell, and brought Mount Tai down from the sky on Monkey's head. By now the great sage was so weak with exhaustion that this mountain landing on his head pinned him down. His 3 corpse spirits exploded, and blood spurted from his 7 orifices. When he had crushed Monkey with his magical powers, the splendid evil spirit mounted a fast wind and caught up with Sanzang. The monster reached down from his cloud and made a grab for the Tang priest as he rode his horse. Friar Sand threw down the luggage in horror and rushed forward, wielding his demon-subduing staff to stop him. The evil demon raised his 7-star sword to face Friar Sand. It was a fierce battle. A sword of 7 stars, a demon-quelling staff flash and gleam with golden light. The one has glaring eyes, a black demon of death. The iron-faced other is indeed a general of the curtain. Before the mountain of death, demon displays his powers, determined to capture Tan Sanzang. His foe fights hard to save the worthy priest, ready to die before he lets him go. Both belch fogs that bide the heavenly palace and kick up clouds of dust to blot out stars. The red sun pales before their battle. Heaven and earth are thrown into confusion. But after 9 clashes yielding no result, Friar Sand, alas, is suddenly defeated. The ferocious demon wielded his sword like a shooting star as he fought till Friar Sand was exhausted. Friar Sand was exhausted. Friar Sand turned to flee, but the monster parried his staff and brought a great hand, wheeling round to grab him. Tucking the friar under his left arm, the demon pulled Sanzang from his horse with his right hand, hooked their luggage with his toes, opened his mouth to get his teeth into the horse's mane, and used his magic to levitate them, and carry them in a puff of wind back to levitate them, and carry them in a puff of wind back to... The Lotus Flower Cave. Elder brother, he yelled, I've got all the monks. The older monster was delighted. Bring them here. I want to see them, he said. These are the ones, aren't they? Said the younger. Brother, sighed the older monster. You've got the wrong ones again. But you told me to get the Tang priest, said the younger. This is the Tang priest, all right, said the older monster. But you still haven't caught that very powerful son, the Nod. We can't eat the Tang priest before we get him. Until we've got him, we must on no account touch any of his people. That Monkey King has enormous magical powers and can turn himself into all sorts of things. There's no way he'll let us eat his master. If he comes to our door looking for a fight, you can forget all about a quiet life. Elder brother, said the younger monster with a laugh, you're overrating him. From the way you're going on about how marvelous he is, anyone would think that there were none like him on earth and few enough in the heavens. As I see it, he's nothing special. He hasn't any powers. Did you catch him? The elder demon asked. He can't move an inch, the other replied. He's crushed under 3 mountains I dropped on him. It was only when I'd done that to him I collected the Tang priest, Friar Sand, the horse, and the baggage, and brought them all here. The news filled the old monster's heart with pleasure. What luck. What luck? What? Now you've dealt with that wretched son, the Tang priest is as good as food in our mouths. Saying this, the older monster ordered the young devils bring wine at once and give the junior king a drink to celebrate his success. No, I won't have a drink, said the younger demon. Tell the little devils to pull Pig out of the water and hang him up. Pig was then hung up in the eastern wing of the cave, Friar Sand in the west, and Tang priest in the middle. The white horse was sent off to the stables, and the lug was stored away. You have great powers, my brother, said the older monster with a laugh. You've caught the 3 monks twice. But even though you've crushed them under a mountain, you'll need some magic to get that son into our cooking pot. That'll be the day. Please sit down, elder brother, said the younger monster. I can get Monkey without lifting a finger. I just need to send 2 little devils with a couple of treasures to bring him back in. What treasures? My gold and red gourd and your vase of mutton fat, Jay? The older monster fetched the 2 treasures, handed them to him, and asked which 2 little devils were to be sent. Send dexterous ghost and skillful beast, replied the younger monster. He then instructed them, take the 2 treasures, straight to the top of a high mountain, put them there upside down and call out to Sun. If he responds, he'll go straight inside. You must immediately paste this label on, Supreme Lord Leo, to be dealt with urgently in accordance with the statutes and ordinances. Within 3.5 hours, he'll just be puss. The 2 little devils kowtowed and went off with treasures to catch Monkey, as he lay crushed under the 3 mountains. The great sage thought in his distress of the holy priest Sanzang. Master, he wailed, I remember how you removed the paper sealing me under the double boundary mountain, delivered me from terrible agony, and brought me into the Buddhist faith. The Bodhisattva ordered me to stay with you and improve myself, sharing your fate, your appearance, and your knowledge. I never thought I'd have this demon trouble here and be crushed by mountains again. Oh dear. Oh dear. If you die, it serves you right. But I do feel sorry about Friar Sand, Pig, and the little dragon who is turned into a horse. Indeed, a tall tree invites the wind. The wind then shakes the tree. Whoever strives for fame, by fame destroyed is he. Then he sighed, and the tears flowed like rain. All this had alarmed the mountain spirits, the local gods, and the protectors of the 4 quarters, and the protectors of the 4 quarters and the center. Whose mountains are these? Asked the gold-headed protector. Ours, said the local gods. And who is it pinned under your mountains? We don't know, said the local gods. You lot wouldn't, said the protector. It's Sun Wukong, the great sage, equaling heaven, who made havoc in the palaces of heaven 500 years ago. Now he's found religion and become the Tang priest's disciple. Why ever did you let that demon use your mountains to crush him? You've had it now. He'll not spare you if ever he gets free. Even if he decides to let you off lightly, it'll be exile for the local gods and hard labor for the mountain spirits. and I'll get a severe reprimand." "We didn't know, really we didn't," said the gods and spirits, now terrified. "When the chief demon recited the mountain-moving spell, we just moved them here. We never knew it was the great sage son." "Don't be afraid," said the protector. "The legal code says that you cannot be punished for what you are unaware of. We'll have to work out a plan to let him out in such a way that he won't kill us all. It would be very unfair of him to kill us if we set him free," said the local gods. "There's something else you don't know," said the protector. "He has a truly lethal as you will gold-banded cudgel. If he hits you with that, you're dead, and just a touch of it will wound. A tap will shatter your sinews, and a graze from it rip your skin to shreds." The terrified local gods and mountain spirits then conferred with the protectors, approached the gates of the three mountains, and called, "Great Sage, the mountain spirits, local gods, and protectors from the four quarters in the center have come to see you." Splendid monkey. He was like a tiger who, though skinny, was as always full of spirit. "So what?" he called in a loud, clear voice. "We have a communication for the great sage," replied the local gods. "If we remove the mountains and set you free, great sage, will you forgive us humble spirits for our discourtesy?" "Move these mountains," said Monkey, "and I won't hit you." Then he shouted, "Get up!" It was just like the authorities giving an order. The deities all said the magic words, and the mountains went back to where they had come from. Monkey was free. He jumped up, shook the dirt off his body, tightened his kilts, pulled out his cudgel from behind his ear, and said to the local gods and mountain spirits, "I'll hold out your feet. I'm going to give you 2 strokes each to work off my bad temper." "But you promised just a moment ago, great sage," said the deities in horror, "to forgive us. How can you go back on your word and hit us?" "My dear local gods and mountain spirits," said Monkey, "you're more afraid of that monster than of me. But that demon has great and powerful magic arts. When he says his true spells, he forces us to take it in turns to be on duty in his cave every day." Monkey was shocked to hear them talk about being on duty. He looked up to the skies and shouted, "Heaven, heaven, heaven, when the primal chaos was first differentiated, and heaven divided from earth, I was born on the mountain of flowers and fruit. I visited many a wise teacher and learned the secrets of eternal life. I could change as swiftly as the winds, subdued tigers and dragons, and made great havoc in the palaces of heaven. But never did I bully mountain spirits and local gods, or make them run my errands. What a disgrace, when these evil monsters have the effrontery to treat mountain spirits and local gods as their slaves, and make them take turns to serve them. Heaven! If you created me, why ever did you create them?" Just as the great sage was in the middle of his complaint, a rosy light began to shine in the mountain hollow. "Mountain spirits, local gods," asked Monkey, "you serve in the cave, so what is it that's shining?" "The monster's treasures," replied the local gods. "Some of the demons must have brought them to catch you out with." "Just what I need to play a little trick on them," said Monkey. "Tell me, who comes to see them in the cave? What they're interested in is refining elixirs of immortality, and their best friends are Taoist masters of the Kwanzaa school," replied the local gods. "No wonder he turned himself into an old tortuous priest to trick my master," said Monkey. "There, well then, I'll let you off for now. Back you go. I'll get them myself." The spirits all rose into the air and made off. The great sage shook himself and turned himself into an old Taoist master. Do you know what he made himself like? His hair drawn into 2 tufts, a motley robe of 100 patches. He tapped a fisherman's drum, a lurid blue sash, around his waist. He leaned beside the path, awaiting the little devils. Soon the devils arrived to be prey for the Monkey King's tricks. It was not long before the 2 little devils arrived. Monkey thrust his gold-banded cudgel out and tripped up the 2 demons, who were taken right off guard. It tripped up the 2 demons, who were taken right off guard. It was only as they picked themselves up that they saw Monkey. "You villain! If our great king weren't such an admirer of the likes of you, we'd soon sort you out." "What do you mean, sort me out?" asked Monkey with a forced smile. "We're all Taoists, one big happy family. What are you lying here, and why did you trip us up?" asked the devils. A little fall is a way for you boys to show your respect on meeting a Taoist elder like me, said Monkey. Our great king only demands a few ounces of silver when people first meet him, said the little devils. So why do you expect us to fall over for you? That's not the custom here. You must be from somewhere else. Indeed I am, said Monkey. I am from Mount Penglay. But that's an island in the sea where immortals live, said the devils. If I'm not an immortal, said Monkey, I don't know who is. By now the devil's anger had given way to delight. Venerable immortal. They said, Venerable immortal, please don't take offense at our rudeness. It was only because our common mortal eyes failed to recognize you. I don't hold this against you, said Monkey. As the saying goes, an immortal body does not tread the common ground. You couldn't be expected to know. I've come to your mountain today to bring over a virtuous man who's become an immortal and completed the way. Anyone want to come with me? I'll go with you, master, said Dexterous Ghost. Me too, said Skillful Beast. Where have you two gentlemen come from? Asked Monkey, as if he did not know already. From the Lotus Flower Cave, they said. Where are you going? We are under orders from our great king to capture Sun the Novice, the devils replied. Who? Monkey asked. Sun the Novice, they repeated. The Sun the Novice who's going with the Tang priest to fetch the scriptures? Asked Monkey. Yes, that one, the devils replied. Do you know him? That ape's outrageous, said Monkey. I know him, and I'm very angry with him too. Let me come along with you and help you catch him. Thank you, master, they replied. But we won't be needing your help. Our junior king used his magic arts to bring 3 mountains here to crush him. Now he can't move an inch. We too have been sent here with treasures to pack him into. What treasures? Asked Monkey. I've got the red gourd, said Dexterous Ghost, and he's got the jade vase. How are you going to fit him into them? Asked Monkey. We'll set them upside down, said the little devils, and call to him. If he responds, we'll put him inside and stick on a label saying, Supreme Lord Leo, to be dealt with urgently in accordance with the statutes and ordinances. 3.5 hours later, he'll be just so much puss. This news shocked Monkey, who remarked to himself what a deadly plot this was. The duty god of the day told me that there were 5 treasures altogether, he thought. These are 2 of them. I wonder what the other 3 are. Gentlemen, he said aloud, would you let me have a look at your treasures? Not realizing that this was a trick, the 2 little devils produced them from their sleeves and offered them respectfully with both hands to Money. He was delighted, though he did now show it. Splendid things, he thought. Splendid things, he thought. Splendid. I'd just have to flick my tail in the air and go whizzing off with a jump. They've given them to me. Then he had second thoughts. No, that's no good. Stealing them would be easy enough, but it would destroy my reputation. It'd be daylight robbery. So, he handed them back with the words, but you haven't seen my treasure yet. What is it? The devils asked. Would you let us common mortals see it? It'd bring us luck. The splendid monkey put his hand down, pulled a hair from his tail, made a spell, and called change. It turned into a big gold and red gourd 1 foot 7 inches long that he produced from his waist. Would you like to see my gourd? He asked. Skillful Beast took it, looked at it, and said, It's a very big gourd, Master Shapely, and very fine to look at, but it's useless. What do you mean, useless? Asked Monkey. Each of our treasures can contain 1,000 people, the devils replied. What's so special about being able to contain people? Said Monkey. Mine can hold the sky itself. The sky? Asked the devils. Yes, it really can, Monkey replied. You must be lying, said the little devils. We can only believe that if we saw you do it. There's no way we're gonna believe you otherwise. If the sky annoys me, said Monkey, I pack it in here 7 or 8 times a month. But if it doesn't annoy me, I might leave it alone for half a year. Let's see if he'll swap his sky-holding treasure with us, said Skillful Beast to the other demon. But he'd never swap his sky-holder for our one that can only hold people, replied Dexterous Ghost. If he won't swap, we can throw our vase in too, said Skillful Beast, concealing his delight. Monkey thought, a gourd for a gourd, and the vase too is 2 for 1. I'll certainly agree to that. So he went up to the skillful beast, clutched him, and asked, "Will you swap them if it can hold the sky?" "Yes, we'll swap them as long as it can hold the sky," said the devil. "And I'll be your son if we don't." "Very well then," said Monkey. "I'll put the sky in it to show you." The splendid great sage bowed his head to make the spell and say the words of it. He called on the patroller of the day. The patroller of the night, together with the protector of the four quarters in the center, report on my behalf to the Jade Emperor that I have now found the true faith and am escorting the Tang priest to the western heaven to fetch the scriptures. We are now holed up on a high mountain, and my master is in dire distress. I want to trick the devils into swapping their treasures with me, so I most humbly beg that I be lent the sky to put away for an hour. This will enable me to succeed. If there's so much as a hint of a refusal, then I'll be coming up to the Hall of Miraculous Mist to give battle. The patroller of the day went straight in through the southern gate of heaven to the Hall of Miraculous Mist, where he reported everything to the Jade Emperor. "Outrageous ape," said the Jade Emperor. "This is insolence. Previously, it was Bodhisattva Guanyin who persuaded us to release him to escort the Tang priest. We sent the protectors of the four quarters and the center and the four duty gods to take it in turns to protect him. Now he wants to put the sky away. It can't be done." As soon as he had said that the sky could not be put away, Prince Nisa stepped forward from the officials at court and submitted a memorial. "Your Majesty, it is possible to contain the sky." "How?" the Jade Emperor asked. "When the primal chaos was first differentiated," Prince Neza replied, "the light and pure became the sky, and the heavy and dirty became the earth. The sky is a ball of pure vapor that holds up the palaces of heaven, and by rights it should be impossible to contain it. But now that son, the novice, is escorting the Tang priest to fetch the scriptures from the western heaven, this will be a source of blessings as great as Mount Tai, a good deed as profound as the ocean. Today we ought to help him succeed." "How would you help him?" the Jade Emperor asked. "I beg for the issue of an imperial edict to the northern gate of heaven, asking the true martial god to lend us his black vulture banner to spread outside the southern gate and block out the sun, moon, and stars. Down there they will be unable to see each other and not even able to tell back from white. That will fool the devils into thinking that the sky is packed into the gourd and enable Son the Novice to succeed." The Jade Emperor ordered that this suggestion be implemented. Bearing the imperial command, Prince Neza went to see the true martial god at the northern gate of heaven and tell him what had happened. The true martial god handed the prince the banner. By now a patroller had hurried down to whisper in the great sage's ear, "Prince Neza is coming to help you." Monkey looked up to see swirling clouds of good omen, a sure sign of the presence of a god, then turned to the presence of a god, then turned to the little devils and said, "We'll put the sky away then." "Put it away if you like," said the little devils, "but why all this playing for time?" "I was just saying the spell and calling up the magic powers," said Monkey. The little devils gazed wide-eyed, wondering how he was going to put the sky away. Monkey threw his imitation gourd up into the air. It was only a hair, really, so you can imagine how light it was. As the winds round Mountain Peak caught it, it floated in the air for an hour before landing. Meanwhile, Prince Neza was noisily spreading the black vulture banner out at the southern gate of heaven, obscuring the sun, the moon, and the stars. Indeed, heaven and earth were dyed as black as ink. The cosmos into darkness then did sink. The two little devils were terrified. When we were talking a moment ago, they said it was midday. How could it be dusk now? When the sky is put away, said Monkey, distinctions of time disappear? Of course it's murky. But what's so dark now? The sun and the moon and the stars have all been put inside, so there's no light outside. It's about to be dark, master, said the little devils. Where is your voice coming from? I'm just in front of you, aren't I? Said Monkey. The little devils stretched their hands out and felt him. We can hear you, but we still can't see you. Where are we, master? Don't fidget, said Monkey, hoodwinking them. You're on the coast of the Bohai Sea. One slip and you'd fall for 7 or 8 days before hitting the bottom. The little devils were panic-struck. Enough. Enough. Let the sky out again. Now we know how it's put away. If you go on a moment too long and we fall into the sea, we'll never get home. Splendid monkey. As they were both convinced, he said another spell that had an impact on Prince Neza, who rolled the banner up again, revealing the noonday sun once more. Fantastic! Exclaimed the little devils in delight. Fantastic! If we don't do a swap for this treasure, we won't be looking after our family's interest. Dexterous Ghost handed over the gourd, and Skillful Beast produced the vase. When they gave them both to Monkey, he gave them both to Monkey. He gave them his imitation gourd. The exchange had now been made, but Monkey wanted it to be final, so he plucked a hair from under his navel, blew a magic breath on it, and turned it into a copper coin. "Boys," he said, "take this coin and buy a sheet of paper." "What?" they asked. "We'll write a legal contract for the exchange of your two man-holding treasures for my skyholder," said Monkey. "We each need a written agreement to prevent later regrets with the passage of time. But there's no brush or ink here to write a contract with," said the two little devils. "Let's swear an oath instead." "What sort of oath?" asked Monkey. "We exchange our two man-holding treasures for your skyholder," said the devils. "And if we ever have any regrets, may we be struck with pestilence in all 4 seasons." "I certainly won't have any regrets," chuckled Monkey. "If I do, may I too be struck with pestilence in all 4 seasons." Having sworn his oath, he leapt up, his tail in the air, and landed in front of the southern gate of heaven, where he thanked Prince Neza for helping him with the banner. The prince reported back to the palace and returned the banner to the true martial god, leaving Monkey standing amid the stars and clouds, gazing at the little devils. If you don't know how things turned out, listen to the explanation in the next installment.